Stop. Don't skip this. Don't look away, because what I'm about to show you will completely break how you see this entire situation. Kendrick Lamar did not just win a rap battle. He didn't just clap back. He didn't just go off. No. What Kendrick Lamar allegedly did was build a trap, a carefully engineered, painstakingly coded, obsessively patient trap, and he laid it 11 years ago. And the internet just found the receipts, all of them date-stamped, cross-referenced, and terrifyingly specific. By the time this video is over, you are going to look at a 2015 jazz album differently. You are going to look at a federal RICO lawsuit differently. You are going to look at the Super Bowl differently. And you are never going to be able to unsee what I'm about to show you. Let's go. Everybody thought they knew what this beef was. Two rappers, big egos, back and forth diss tracks, clout, streams, culture points. That's what Twitter said, that's what the podcast said, that's what every YouTube breakdown from here to London said. They were wrong, because right now, in 2026, there is a completely different conversation blowing up online, and it is not small, it is not niche, it is not a fringe theory from the deep end of the internet. Fans, analysts, theorists, people who have been watching this situation with microscopic attention for years are now saying that what we just watched unfold was not a rap beef. It was an execution, planned, coded, documented in album lyrics 11 years before the target even knew he was being aimed at. And the evidence is piling up receipt by receipt, in real time, in public, in federal court documents. Once you see the full picture, there is no going back. Here is where this gets absolutely insane, and I need you to focus because the timeline alone will make your jaw drop. March 2015, not 2024, not when Like That dropped and the whole internet went to war. March 2015. Kendrick Lamar releases To Pimp a Butterfly, and buried inside that album, in the very first track, is something the internet is now calling receipt number 1. The song is called Wesley's Theory. Not Enemy's Theory, not Drake's Theory, Wesley's Theory. Why Wesley Snipes specifically? Think about it. Wesley Snipes was one of the most powerful black entertainers of his generation. Blade, New Jack City, an untouchable empire, a man who had everything, and then lost it all. Tax evasion, financial recklessness, a catastrophic public collapse of something that looked bulletproof. The lyric from that track is, "One day you're the king, the next you're the jester. The devil is alive, I felt it breathed." Fans online have been screaming since 2015 that Kendrick wasn't making a general statement about fame. They say he was describing a specific type of trap, the trap that catches people who confuse short-term money for long-term power, the trap that comes disguised as an opportunity. Now, fast forward to 2026. Reports are circulating, and let me be clear, these are all allegedly at this stage, that Drake has reportedly lost somewhere in the range of $125 million in gambling activity over a concentrated period. Reports say he's locked into a promotional deal with Stake.com, a crypto gambling platform reportedly worth $100 million per year. And Stake.com is allegedly named in a federal class action RICO lawsuit. And so is Drake. That is precisely the scenario fans claimed Kendrick described in 2015, taking massive corporate money that comes wrapped in invisible chains, the devil that smiles before it locks, the trap that looks like a blessing until you're already inside it. When the RICO lawsuit news broke, the DarkKenny community on Reddit went absolutely nuclear. They started pulling up 11-year-old forum posts, screenshots from 2016, timestamp proof that they had been connecting these exact dots long before any of it was public. Here is where the allegedly coded message gets even more specific and even more disturbing. King Kunta, on the surface, sounds like a pure power anthem, Kendrick stepping into his greatness, declaring his authenticity to the world. But online community has maintained for years that underneath that surface energy, buried in the lyrics, is one of the most precisely targeted accusations in modern rap history. Specifically, the idea of someone performing words that are not their own, being a mouthpiece, a puppet reading someone else's script and selling it as original genius. Online fans have long pointed to this as a direct, surgical shot at Drake's authenticity, the ghostwriting conversations, the reference track situation, the gap between the image being projected and the reality of who was actually creating the art. And in 2026, Drake is allegedly suing his own label, Universal Music Group, over the Not Like Us situation. and according to reports, that lawsuit was dismissed. His follow-up appeal? 117 pages of legal arguments that are reportedly going absolutely nowhere. The man who built his reputation as the untouchable king of hip-hop is now allegedly publicly battling the very corporate machine that reportedly owns his entire catalog. And fans online are saying this with full conviction. Kendrick called it. The puppet eventually sees the strings, but by the time you see them, the people holding those strings already have leverage you cannot overcome. While the rap beef was dominating every headline in 2024, something else was allegedly happening in parallel, something that barely got covered, but that the online community considers the most devastating receipt of all. Kendrick Lamar's company, pgLang, reportedly ranked number 15 on Fast Company's list of the world's 50 most innovative companies. Number 15 in the entire world, across every industry on the planet. Meanwhile, Drake reportedly sold his Los Angeles mansion at a loss. His album, Iceman, has been delayed repeatedly with no clear release timeline. He remains in what fans are describing as a 360 deal, meaning his label allegedly controls significant portions of his revenue streams while he fights them in court. The contrast the internet is painting is nothing short of brutal. Kendrick allegedly owns his masters, controls his creative output entirely, runs a multi-platform enterprise spanning music, media, advertising, and technology, recognized by global business media as one of the most innovative operators on the planet. Drake allegedly fighting his own label in court, allegedly losing, allegedly bleeding money across multiple legal battles simultaneously, while his commercial momentum sits frozen. Now, let's get into the motive, because this is the part that changes everything. This is not just about rap beef. It never was. This is allegedly about two completely opposite philosophies of how to build power in the music industry and what happens when those two philosophies collide over a decade with billions of dollars, federal lawsuits, and the biggest stage in American entertainment on the line. Go back to 2013. Kendrick drops a verse on Big Sean's Control. He names his peers by name and essentially declares war on an entire generation, not out of hatred, out of stated explicit desire to be the best, not one of the best, the best. Drake's name was in that verse, and the DarkKenny community online has been saying for years that for Kendrick, that wasn't just a declaration, that was the opening statement of a much longer argument, one that he already knew how it was going to end. Because here's what was happening in 2013 and 2014 in hip-hop. Drake was the most commercially dominant rapper alive. Streaming records, crossover appeal, everywhere, sports culture, pop culture, fashion, internet memes, an empire that felt genuinely untouchable. And Kendrick, critically celebrated, artistically respected, but operating in a different commercial lane. Fans online argue that Kendrick watched this carefully and made a calculated decision not to compete on Drake's terms, but to build something that would outlast Drake's entire model. To Pimp a Butterfly drops in March 2015. Commercially, not Drake-level numbers. No radio hits, no crossover pop moment. Casual listeners respected it and moved on. But underneath the surface, Kendrick was allegedly building compounding equity, cultural equity, artistic equity, the kind of credibility that doesn't peak and crash. It builds layer by layer, year by year, until it becomes something that cannot be taken away. Meanwhile, Drake's model, massive commercial output, brand deals, constant visibility, a lifestyle brand built on public luxury, was a model that reportedly required constant fueling. And that fuel, allegedly, very, very expensive. Let's talk about the gambling situation specifically, because this is what the online community is calling the nuclear receipt. Stake.com. If you've been online at all in the last 2 years, you've seen Drake posting his gambling activity publicly. Wins and losses, massive bets, casino streams, crypto roulette in front of millions of followers. Reports circulating online allege that Drake's deal with Stake.com was worth approximately $100 million per year as a promotional partner. On its surface, life-changing money. Nobody says no to that. But here's what fans are dissecting with laser focus. They're alleging, based on reported details of the RICO lawsuit, that Drake's compensation was allegedly tied in part to user acquisition. That every post, every promo code, every publicly broadcasted bet allegedly drove new young users to the platform. That a significant portion of those users were fans, people who followed Drake precisely because of the lifestyle he represented. And now, Stake.com is allegedly named in a federal class action RICO lawsuit alleging that the platform captured $38.7 billion of the U.S. crypto betting market through allegedly deceptive practices, that the platform allegedly operated as an illegal gambling operation, that Drake was allegedly used as the primary promotional vehicle for this alleged operation. RICO, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. That is not a minor accusation. That is the legal equivalent of dropping a nuclear bomb on someone's career. And fans are going back to Wesley's theory from 2015, 11 years ago, and saying the trap was described, the exact mechanism was described, taking money from a source that looked like freedom but allegedly functioned as a chain around your neck. The DarkKenny community, they didn't just say we told you so, they showed the timestamps, they showed the posts, they showed the receipts, and the internet broke in half. But here's the part that hits different. Past the lawsuits, past the receipts, past the internet wars, there is a human story underneath all of this, and it is not a comfortable one. Think about what it means, if the online narrative is even partially accurate, to spend 11 years building something invisible, to put coded language into an album that almost nobody fully understood, to watch a man walk willingly into a pattern you allegedly documented years before he got there, to wait in silence for over a decade. That is not normal. That is not how most people operate. That level of patience, discipline, and long-range thinking is almost incomprehensible. And now, think about the other side of that story. Drake, whatever the internet says, whatever the lawsuits allege, built something genuinely real. He came from Degrassi. He came from a place where nobody expected him to become what he became. He built one of the most commercially successful careers in the history of recorded music. And right now, allegedly, he is watching that structure get challenged from every direction at once. His own label, a federal lawsuit, a cultural moment where his biggest rival stood on the Super Bowl halftime stage, the single biggest entertainment platform on earth, and performed a song that was widely understood as a direct, personal targeting of Drake's reputation in front of a reported 127 million people. And Drake's reported response, a selfie. That image, that selfie, while not like us, echoed across the entire cultural landscape, has become one of the most discussed symbols of this entire saga online, not just as a music moment, as a human moment. What does it feel like to watch something you spent 15 years building get taken apart, piece by piece, by someone who allegedly started planning it before you were even rivals? The deeper conversations happening in comment sections, Reddit threads, and late-night Discord chats aren't just celebrating one side. They're wrestling with something bigger, about the music industry, about what it costs, about what gets sacrificed when you chase visibility without building ownership underneath it. Because the most chilling part of this entire story, when you sit with it quietly, is this. If Kendrick really did write the blueprint in 2015, then what does that say about how invisible the industry's traps actually are? What does it say about deals that look like power but allegedly function as cages? What does it say about the difference between owning your art and only owning the performance of it? That question doesn't just apply to Drake. That question applies to every artist who has ever signed something they didn't fully understand. That applies to every creator who built a following without building a foundation underneath it. That's what keeps people up at night, not the diss tracks, not the beef, the possibility that the whole game was rigged and somebody put it in writing 11 years before the rest of us could see it. Let's talk about the DarkKenny community, because they deserve their own spotlight in this story. This Reddit community has been systematically documenting alleged patterns in Kendrick's lyrics, business moves, and public statements since approximately 2015. Not casual fan posting, not speculation for fun, systematic, time-stamped, cross-referenced, obsessively detailed analysis. Timeline charts, lyric breakdowns, pattern recognition grids tracking thematic parallels between TPAP lyrics and real-world events. And for years, the broader internet dismissed them. They were considered the deep end, the obsessive fringe, the people taking it too seriously. And then 2024 happened. Like That dropped, the beef exploded. Not Like Us became a cultural phenomenon that played on the Super Bowl halftime show. And suddenly, journalists were pulling up the DarkKenny archives, music analysts were cross-referencing their timelines, mainstream outlets were writing about theories this community had been documenting for nearly a decade. Posts from 2016 and 2017 went viral with millions of views. Threads from 5 years ago were being read like breaking news. because some of what they allegedly predicted, based purely on lyrical analysis, reportedly came true. Not in vague, well, if you squint ways, in specific ways, verifiable ways, receipt by receipt. The people who were laughed at for going too deep, they weren't wrong. They were early. Here's the move that online fans are calling the final piece of the 11-year plan. Reports are circulating online, allegedly unverified, that Kendrick's team negotiated specifically for total creative control over the Super Bowl 59 halftime show, that the approval process was unusually complex, that there are alleged reports Drake's team attempted to use industry connections to influence what happened on that stage. And if those reports are true, they failed completely. Not Like Us, a song containing some of the most aggressive, direct, specific lyrical accusations in modern hip-hop history, was performed at the Super Bowl 59 halftime show in front of a reported 127 million people, the largest single entertainment broadcast in American history. And Drake, allegedly, had zero recourse, zero platform of comparable size, zero response that could reach that many people in that moment. The internet's reaction was pure detonation. People weren't just saying Kendrick won the beef. They were saying this was the final move of a decade-long chess game being executed in front of the entire world. Some fans called it the cultural coronation of a king. Others called it the most calculated power move in modern entertainment history. Either way, the receipts were right there on the biggest stage in the world, right where the blueprint allegedly said they would be. So where does this all go from here? Nobody knows for certain, but here's what the internet is speculating, and I want to be completely clear that this is theory territory. If the RICO lawsuit moves forward, and RICO cases can drag on for years, Drake's legal situation allegedly becomes structurally devastating. Not just reputation damage, financial exposure. The kind of legal entanglement that allegedly makes it nearly impossible to close major corporate deals or maintain the partnerships that a commercial music career at his scale requires. If the UMG appeal continues going nowhere, and reports strongly suggest it is, then the catalog leverage Drake needs to renegotiate his position may simply not exist. If Ice Van remains delayed indefinitely, the commercial momentum Drake built between 2018 and 2023 continues to sit frozen while legal battles consume his time, energy, and resources. And Kendrick? pgLang is allegedly expanding. The Fast Company recognition reportedly opens corporate, tech, and media doors that a traditional music deal cannot. The Super Bowl performance is widely reported as one of the most culturally impactful halftime shows in the event's history. But here's the speculation that is heating up online right now. Some fans are saying 2026 is not the end of the plan. They're saying, based on lyrical analysis they claim to have been building for years, that there are additional chapters, that the blueprint in TPAB and subsequent Kendrick projects allegedly points to developments that haven't happened yet. Fan theory? Absolutely. But 11 years ago, predicting a federal RICO lawsuit through the lyrics of a jazz album would have sounded exactly this crazy. And yet, here we allegedly are. Before we close, I want to be straight with you. Everything in this video, the receipts, the timeline, the RICO allegations, the UMG battle, the Super Bowl story, is presented as commentary on what the internet is saying, what fans are theorizing, what's allegedly being reported in public documents and news coverage. Real people's lives and real legal situations are involved, and nothing here is presented as established fact. But here's what is real. Whether or not Kendrick literally planned every single piece of this in 2015, the pattern that people online are identifying is stunning enough to stop anyone cold. And the questions it raises about power, ownership, legacy, and the price of visibility are not theoretical. They are not abstract. They are playing out in federal court documents and public reporting right now. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe TPAB was a coded blueprint? Or is this the internet doing what the internet always does, finding patterns in coincidences because the human brain is wired to connect dots? Is there a path back for Drake? Or are we watching the final chapters of something that started 11 years ago? Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, because if the DarkKenny theorists are right, there are more chapters coming. And when they drop, we will be here, with the receipts already dated, already waiting. Stay locked in, because in this industry, in this life, the most dangerous thing you can ever do is sign something without reading what you're giving away.
you.